my grandchildren can tell you afterwards. He said, you probably have a place, and he goes, it's all about your safety gear. People get too complacent and feel too safe and don't have any fear. And then he went on.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and it was so cool. He wasn't saying no, and it was just so cool. But anyway, let's go ahead with the meeting.
Okay.
Get going.
Call meeting order. All right. Approval of minutes for February 2nd.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
It's a little
Looks
short
good to
today.
me.
It's gonna be quick tonight.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Max had called. I didn't hear anything from Dave, but I think it was Max that called. Said he was gonna-
Thank you for the media for being here tonight. Appreciate your being here.
Huh? Oh,
Al, the monthly year-to-date
Oh, I'm sorry. let me talk.
stats and balances.
all there. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit, the numbers and stuff. But
Everything's fine.
I looked them over, they were fine.
Okay.
Deeds you
Got
had.
the deed signed.
Yep.
Okay.
Did you get the sheet? Yep.
Yeah.
You already got that?
Yep.
Okay.
Unfinished business.
We'll go ahead and get started on that. Would give away, course 10 in February. Just so you know, we called Combined Community Service today. We are out of wood. I mean, completely out. We're starting to cut some, we'll cut a tree or whatever, but the wood we had in the back, we started going through and cleaned all that up. A lot of it was punk wood, what we couldn't cut up. It would been no good to burn. It'd just been like flash paper to it. So we got rid of all that and cut up what we had, and we're looking for new now. We're doing some trimming and whatnot. We may go into what we call the back 40 and take a few trees, and because I don't think street has a whole lot, so it's kind of weird. But we gave out 2 today, had turned 1 away today, but we called combined, so we need to stop for a while. Hopefully we'll get to warm weather where they don't need it. So anyway, so that's kind of done. Of course, in the suggestions, there always in there. That's up to you guys. I don't know if you have any. Maybe you'll have some after we get done. In that, a couple things that I want you to understand we're getting ready to do, and if you have time to come out, great. When I put in cremation 2, we kind of, I'm going to say did the basics. I know we spent some money, but landscaping, different stuff to beautify it, we haven't really done a lot. The 2 trees are out front of that. One died and fell over. The other one's getting bad. I'm going to take that out. So Leanne and I were talking today about doing some stuff. We want to put up I can't even think, I want to say pergola, I believe, in the back, just like a little shelter, but open shelter in between the 2. And I want to put some kind of stand in there so they can do funerals if they want to do that instead of around all the stones, is what we're kind of talking about. And maybe getting a couple more lamp posts in that area out where those trees were, and a couple park benches. And I'm just throwing you kind of an idea. Well, nothing's in stone yet. That's why I kind of want to talk about it in the suggestion area. So we're looking to just make that a little more nicer than what it is. I mean, I know it's all sold, but there'll still be a lot of burials going on in there, that type thing. The other thing I told her that I need to get, I'm going to try to solicit this, is bring the painter that did the office, come in and give me a price on painting the front fence. We did it 1 year. My part-time crew did it, and I did it in a flat black, and it needs it, and it should be gloss black. It just looks really, really bad. I want to try to hold on to it for a few more years. Honestly, what needs to be done, I believe, eventually, is it needs to be aluminum. It needs to be all new, but that'll be kind of a big expense. Then I may get a quote later on just to see what it is. Don't mind going that route. That fence takes a lot of beating with kids and pulls and breaks, and I'm afraid aluminum, they'll beat up worse than that. Plus, it'll take a little bit of the integrity away. So, anyway, just a couple things. Please, if you have some, come out. If you have ideas, that's okay. We're just into the old business.
We just
Okay.
got started, so
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
fine.
All right, great.
So, that's all as far as unfinished. Then we go ahead and start going into the new.
Yeah, let's go into,
Okay, you see there in number 1, Aaron and I have got together, the city engineer, talked about the water lines and about the walkway. I have heard nothing yet, and nothing's wrong with that. Aaron's got a lot on his plate right now. We're looking, one, to put probably less water lines in. Something that amazed Aaron, that he's been around, that a cemetery has water lines, city water lines in there. He goes, that's not really common, and I said, I inherited them. But we will look into redoing the office and maybe a water fill station. That'd be kind of like the first step. And then work on a 5-year plan to try to liven up with less hydrants, not as many, in the new area. But, so the old area probably won't go. With that, and maybe into this year, I'll see what happens. I have a 160-gallon tank that I use for water. I may have to go bigger. I don't know. Being with the sod we have to do, and it's going to take a lot of fill, and we may need bigger tank. But I will let you know with that, or figure that out as far as budget, if I can do it, and get back. Or I have an option, if Pazika's available, is to fix that water line we didn't fix last and try to fire it up one more time. Don't know. So there's a few options. But anyway, that's what's going on there, so I don't really have any news as far as the new improvements of that. As you can see, as we're gonna go down, I mean, it's not news to anybody, we had a mild winter. So we've been doing spring stuff. We've been able to do that since we're not. So we have prepared all the sod for all the graves. It is ready to go, so, I should say prepare the sod. We've prepared the ground for the sod. So we've got them cut down, we've got top dirt in, we're ready to throw some fertilizer and then put sod on once the sod grows. So we're ahead on that game. The other one, as you can see, number 3, this first list of foundations, we had 35. 5 of them were flush, so we have 30 to pour. We stopped it at 30, or I asked to stop it. We have some more on the second pour. Those are currently framed, ready to go, metal's bent. Give us warm weather, we're pouring. So we're ahead on that also. As you see in number 4, it just lists some of the stuff. In the cemetery, I know it sounds kind of ridiculous, but low spots. Places sink, you do, and so when you mow it, mowers bounce and whatnot. So we're filling a lot of those. Yeah, a lot in the old sections, some in the new, just offsets or whatever to make the ground a little more level. And once again, then we'll seed and finish that. With that too, we've also, the curbs and stuff where people cut and mess up, we put dirt in it. We did throw a little seed in it, but I probably shouldn't have done that because people are driving through them, even though we have them staked. And they're driving through them, so we'll have to touch them back up in the spring and put up some more stuff. So it's a lot of summer stuff going on currently. You are aware that I do have the new employee. I believe I told you that last week or last month. He's doing well. He's a really good worker. We're getting him up. He's been in the hoe. That's the thing he hasn't done. So he has spent probably a day in there back by us. It's in the control to the dirt pile. We start with the dirt pile. He will dig through the dirt pile. We've laid out a hole out back there for him to dig. He's dug half. Then we take sawhorses and stuff and set around him like they're stones. And I think we started having him throw it in the back of a dump truck. And that's as far as he's gotten. He's been out on the site to do jobs, but not in the hoe yet. That'll be a little more time, a little more practice before we do that. And that's just because we're dealing with a lot of expensive stones and a lot of expensive equipment. With that, we are digging with our new hoe. It's an E60. The one I had prior was an E50. And I believe that's in your minutes as far as we were looking into that through Sourcewell. And I think I told you last week, we'll verify, this hoe roughly starts out at $111,000. My E50, they gave me $8,000 more than I paid for it in 2017. And with going through Sourcewell, it cut it down to $36,700 is what we paid for that. Yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Do have a minor leak in it, right? They came out today, which they'll take the pan off the bottom. It's new. It's nothing wrong. We're digging with it. It's got some more power, a little nicer for the guys to run. It's easy to train. I know that sounds weird, but I think we talked about that too. Mine was 4 to 6. It had the rods, and you had a multi-handle to make things work, and now it's 2 little joysticks. Yeah, if you play video games, I can teach you to run it. Yeah, it's kind of unique. This young man has caught on to it really well so far. And I mean, you explain, you're in a $111,000 hoe. You're going to throw dirt into a $50,000 piece of equipment, and you're going over tens of thousands of dollars in stones. So I always put the perspective in as far as what they're doing. But he's handled it real well. He asked me the question like they all do, how will you know that I can do this? I said, when you don't think about it. I'll put him through stuff, I'll ask him to do stuff, and I'll watch. If he has to sit and think about it, he's not ready yet. That's the only way you're gonna know. It's just how I was taught, and that's just how I do it, old school, whatever. But you can tell, if when you tell them to do a command, if they don't sit there and think about it, they're on it. So, anyway, wanted to give you a little bit about that. So, excited with A New Hope. I don't have my new bucket yet. What we did is, we bought a 36, that's standard, a 36-inch bucket. WeFab has it currently, and they're making it a 40-inch bucket. We dig 40 inches. So we go 36, and you have to scrape and go wider. This one they're digging, they'll be digging 40 inches. It'll cut down a little time on us as far as digging. The machine will handle it, that's why I didn't do it before. Now I guess into the stonework. Slow me down if you need, I'm sorry, I'm kind of talking a little fast. The stonework we have, I have pictures if you'd like to see. The flags up at Legion 3, the stonework is done. Here, I'll start with you.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, and on the ends are basically like flower pots built in. Now, I call them flower pots. I haven't.
Up here?
Yeah, these are raised on both ends. They're like a little over 3 foot by 3 foot. I don't know if flowers are going to go in it. I don't know if stones and little statues are going to go in it. I don't know yet. But while we're on that, and once again, this goes back into those suggestions that I need your help on, because I will keep going until you tell me no. I have no power out there, okay? And I think we talked a little bit about this in the last meeting. I haven't found out yet. All I got to do is get a price for somebody to bore underneath that main road to get me power. I can bring it from the fence over. We can do that ourselves. And I want to get power to this unit you're seeing here. The reason is this young man comes out and does other events. Tom does, or Tom. I think I always get you. I always gonna be Tom. Sorry. Anyway, help me out. Agent Orange.
Agent Orange, one of them.
And
We've got, well, you've got Memorial Day.
yeah, but we don't use power out
We
there.
don't usually use power there.
It's agent. There's two that I know of.
And then all your burials are basically happening in there. So
Right.
they wanted to
But you
be-
do some other thing where we had to run power out of the chapel over
Right.
there. So 2 reasons I want to get power and mount to that wall. Okay, but also is I have people wonder why my flags aren't lit and I don't have power in the cemetery. And it's no disrespect at any point at all, but I can buy these little solar ones and it's going to light the pole up. It'll never get to the flag. They don't make them strong enough currently. I'm sure they're coming out with LEDs. They will be, but I can't. There's just no way. So by me running power out there, 2 things I want to do. One, in that flower bed you saw, I want to set lights so it lights up the 5. And then I want to put one on Legion 3 is what I want to do. That's kind of my goal down the line. Don't know if it'll be this year. I will get a quote to see what it is to bore underneath. But if nothing else, it's just us cutting the rest of the way and putting it in with underground wire. So, and then buying the fixtures, of course. So that's something I'm also looking at. So that's the first wall. Mike this year was contracted to do that, and in Cremation 1, we're doing some little wall work around the 4 trees and some walkway stuff. I had put enough in and he came under enough that I decided to do another section. And if you've been back by the rugged cross, that sits on a dirt hill. It had a boundary around it in limestone that was kind of buried, crushed, broken. He gave me a very good price. And this is not finished product. The top isn't totally done, but I put a wall around it. It looks very nice. We're probably going to seat it and make it look nice instead of stone. We left the stairway there just for the integrity of the old style and the looks of the stairway. But we designed it, put it in. If that stairway would go out, we could finish it in block. So that he finished today. Like I say, that isn't a finished picture. The top isn't totally finished. Just so you can see that also. So of course with the weather, he was able to start early. So those 2 projects are done. And now he's in Cremation 3, tearing out the stuff and getting ready to do all that work. Basically, I kind of went quick, but in a nutshell, that's what's going on, except we're getting ready for spring. If you look at your totals, For January and February, you can see there was not a lot of funerals. February was a total of 8. We normally average anywhere from 20 to 25 in February. And in March, as this week, after Saturday, we've already done half of what we did in February. We'll have four done by Saturday. So, can't answer why, don't know, and I guess it's a good thing. We're not putting somebody in the ground, they're living, or, so we're down a little bit on funerals, but other than that, that's all I got. Like I say, we're geared up for summer, what we're doing now. Any questions? I will bring you these pictures in just a minute so you can see what we're talking about.
It's just, it's interesting. We are, I haven't even talked to you about this yet, but we're working on 100 years ago, Virginia Asher. They sold 1 million copies of the old Rugged Cross.
Really?
Through 2023, so it's the 100th anniversary of, it's one of the first, what's 1 million? Is that a gold record? I don't even know.
I think it would be a gold, yeah.
Is that a gold record? It was one of the first gold records
Yeah.
ever sold.
Really? Huh.
100 years ago. So we're thinking about doing, that's just, when you start talking about fixing that up, you must have been listening, reading my mind or something.
Crazy.
Isn't that crazy though?
It is.
And 100 years is like that, so.
It is.
But we're gonna do, now, that looks really good though, Hal. Both things look awesome.
Yeah, I was kicking around, I leaned on Leanne, and I don't mean this, I don't want this to be my cemetery, because it's not.
No,
I mean,
it's-
I don't mind and have ideas, so I bounce a lot off of her. And originally, on that Rugged Cross, I was gonna put a membrane down and stone it. And I started kicking around, and my brain just works a little different, because half of it's like, yeah, that's really cool, but the other half is going, mm-mm. So I sat down and just had a talk with her, and I believe I'll sod it. I'll just put it back to grass, because I try to keep the integrity of what it was. Okay, even though I'm putting new stuff around it, like if you come down and look at the other wall, there was a family that put steps in their moss or whatever. I built that wall around that. I didn't take that out. I don't want to take that out. So I think if I put stone in it, it'll modernize it too much. Because I had a hard time putting a wall around it, but what happens is, like I say, the border was way down by the asphalt. Okay, so what happened, people hit it, the ground deteriorates, and it's real hard to make it look nice on the hill part of that, and keep it clean. And so this will make it, preserve that, and just make it look nicer. And like I say, the steps, they're limestone, they're thick, we've repacked and straightened them, I think to last probably a long, long time. But if something happens, I can put new in and turn that wall in.
It looks great.
So,
Yeah.
that was my plan. The only other thing on there, you said 100 years, and I've looked at it, I haven't made any decision on what to do, I'm not too sure. Once again, it's integrity. The bronze plaque that's on that podium is starting to pop. And I don't know if I can fix it, I'm gonna try to clamp and fix it. If not, I'm gonna have to redo it. And once again, now that's new to old. That talks about that cross. So I just was up there today looking at stuff, and I looked out and saw the corner was starting to curl. And it's just thin bronze, it's not
The
really heavy.
corner of the plaque is.
Yeah, it's a granite base, and then the plaque sits on top, and it's not like the big heavy bronze, it's thin, and it's starting to curl. So I will look at it, see what I can do, but I just wanted, since we were talking about it, I wanted to bring you up, I haven't.
Of course, when you're 75 to 100 years old, you do tend to curl a little bit.
You
so.
track a little.
Yeah.
Right, but I want to try, the whole deal, I want to try to save it so it lasts another 100 years. I don't want it to, or I don't want a kid to come in, or an adult, and pull it off. And
Is it real thin, Hal? Really, I've read it many times, I didn't realize. I
Well,
never really looked at that
it's got a
close.
bevel, and I haven't studied it. I was just up there talking with the block guy or whatever, and happened to catch it out of the corner of my eye. I need to study it some more. But it's bent like with a little bevel, and that bevel's starting to, so it's not as thick as what it
So the
looks.
water's gotten underneath there and pushed it.
Yeah, ice and starting to
Yeah.
push it, yeah. Just so you know.
Okay.
The only last thing I have that I don't have on here, I don't know if the one gentleman is still around. I won't give you the name, but up at Legion 2, you go down to the valley, there's a big monument there, and the family, way back in the day, put a border around it, and it was done in the old sandstone stuff with tops. The son or grandson came and asked me to work on it. I said I can, but it said this is real soft material. I tried to tuck point that and I mortared top on it because I couldn't find the block work to it, and repainted to make it look like it's grenading. While I was at the conference, they ripped it out, and we're just putting it into grass right now. Don't know if I put a new wall around it, don't know if that's something we should do, I don't know. It was time to come out. They had big round pillars with the big round balls on top, and they were just falling apart. And one right across the street, everything is fine, but the round towers, I'm gonna have to take the towers down, because we're just finding pieces, or it's gonna hit somebody, or who knows what it's gonna do. So I just wanna let you know, if somebody in the family comes up, they might be a little bit upset. But it was, when the guys, I said, when you pull it out, was there any big pieces? He go, no, it just all fell apart. So it was time. Yep, we were picking pieces up, we were hitting it with mowers. It was just, it wasn't something I wanted to do, but it was just falling apart. I couldn't keep it any longer. So anyway, I just want to let you know we're doing that, cleaning up stuff. But questions for me? Sorry, I kind of went real quick. Kind of pretty simple. Like all the departments, we're just gearing up for summer. So you know. The only equipment left, I'm sorry, is I have a mower to buy yet. I traded one of the mowers in, so that's all as far as the equipment or big purchases we have yet this year.
So with the new guy, how many people do you have on staff?
So I have 6 groundskeepers, Leanne and myself.
Okay.
So this summer, I will cut one part-time. I have one part-time is not coming back. My 3 are still. I'm gifted that these people want to come back. So I have 3 currently that want to come back. The other one got married and moved on to more of his career, which is really cool. Enjoyed having him, so I probably won't replace him with this guy. But this helps. I'm fortunate to have longevity in my department. So, I mean, I just had one guy that has enough to his 4 weeks vacation. So it's a little nicer. Not that I complain, but a lot of times I'm out mowing, doing stuff, because I have 2, 3 guys off. And then I come back in the evening, do my paperwork. Once again, not complaining. I signed up for 24/7, but this will give me a little more time to do some office work. I'll still be out there. That's how I manage. I can't just point manage. I have to be out. But this will give me a little more time behind the desk to get stuff done. We're big in right now to the GIS software, training it over to Elements. They're working on that. And that's going to be a real gentle move, because this is almost 19,000 guests that in data we're moving. So they're working on it behind the scenes. We've not done anything yet, but we're going to go into this Elements. It'll be a better program, better software for us. And I was behind Penny, my guest. I had 40, almost 50 to pen. I'm done. I'm caught up. So, give me a little more time behind the seat here. So, yeah, so 6 full-time. Dave should understand, I was going to put this guy on 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And the lovely pandemic hit.
Oh, yeah.
And Joe asked me to hold off for a year. But in his conversation and his voice, he was worried about 2021, but he was really worried about financial 2022.
Right.
So I chose to hold off 2 years to see what happens. So I think it's needed
Sure.
with the acreage that we're developing and doing. I mean, it's a lot of work for these guys.
Oh, yeah.
So that's currently what we have.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
Not for me.
Okay.
April 6th is your next
April
meeting.
6th.
April 6th then?
Isn't
All right.
that crazy?
Yeah, that's going quick, yeah. All right, well, thank you all very much.
Yeah.
Good to see you. We'll adjourn. Better, this year's just.
I know it.